My name is Sarah Cameron. I'm currently a Carson Fellow at the Rachel Carson Center, and I'm an assistant professor of history at the University of Maryland. My research topic is on the Kazakh famine of the 1930 to 1933. This famine occurred in the Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan under Stalin's rule. And in this famine, more than 1.5 million people perished. At the time, that was approximately 1/4 of Kazakhstan's population. And the vast majority of those who perished in the famine were Kazakhs. Kazakhs are Muslims, Turkic speakers, and they were also pastoral nomads, and this is something that's really key to my topic. So pastoral nomads are not peasants. Peasants, their way of life is tied to a particular tract of land. A pastoral nomad, their way of life is intimately connected with their animal herds, which would, in Kazakhstan, included sheep, horses, camels, and then later on some cattle. And these animals, they would take them out on seasonal migrations along predefined routes. And these animals were really crucial to their everyday existence and way of life. The major trigger for this particular famine was Stalin's policy of collectivization. And under collectivization, animals' herd numbers dropped precipitously. And this really affected Kazakhs in particular because their way of life was so connected with these animal herds. Without their animals, they could no longer migrate seasonally, and they really had no basically means of income or means of subsistence, because animals were tied up with everything from the dwellings that they constructed, their yurts, to the things that they traded for. And this really, itself triggered the famine, and the famine would really have profound consequences for Kazakhstan itself. It transformed Kazakhstan into a sedentary society, into a largely agricultural and industrial landscape. And in turn, it had this tremendous demographic effect on Kazakhs. 1/4 of the population was lost, and Kazakhs, in turn, were transformed into a settled society. In my research, I have 2 goals. One is that I want to bring to light this terrible disaster, the Kazakh famine of 1930 to 33, which we in the West have really long ignored, and we really know nothing about the major causes and consequences of this disaster, which actually transformed a landscape the size of continental Europe. My second goal is I want to bring the study of the environment back into Soviet history. Soviet history has been slow to adopt other methodological approaches, such as environmental history, and particularly for the period that I study, which is heavily dominated by political and in turn often politicized approaches. And I feel that if we bring back in the study of the environment, this in turn will shed light on many of these long-standing issues and questions in Soviet history.